Hey guys, Clumsy here. Welcome back. Clumsy flying. Let's switch out the devices there. There you go. Smooth transition. Didn't know you could do that. That's cool. Alright, there you go. Should see my screen. You should hear me properly, but let me know if something is not working as intended. Alright, how is everyone doing? Thank you for joining, guys. No yet allowed here in this stream. Thanks everyone for joining. Who do you have first? Scotsman, how are you? Yes, we'll be continuing the trip in Canada, where Scotsman will be our tour guide, and then we will proceed to doing Tom's route. Now, Tom's route is quite interesting. I might think, if I'm capable of enough of that, I might think of doing that in VATSIM. But I've never tried VATSIM in this sim, so we'll see if we can even do that. I might be too busy to talk with anyone else if I go with that approach. And it might take me 30 minutes just to speak to the controllers, but we'll see. Anyway, let's see, who do we have else on chat here? Hey Patrick, glad you made it. Were you also in Jack's stream? Sorry Jack, couldn't drop by. How was space? Hey Ross, thanks for joining. Thanks for the IK code, Scotsman. We'll definitely be using that. Exarchias, no problems, man. Thanks for the bits. And yes, feel free to leave me in the TV. Good luck with work. Oh man, speaking of work, I have to go back to work today. I was out the past few days on staycation, celebrating with Mrs. Clumsy. So now I have to face the hard truth again and go back to work. Yikes. Explain Mobile. Yes, that is available now. I've tried it initially when it was not yet good, or when it's not yet fully developed. I think it is much better now, so that's great to hear. Hey Hud, glad you made it. No school today. Ah, nice. That's great to hear, so you can relax a bit. Let's get going. We will. Hey Sonoma, yes, flying. I do miss the flying sessions with you guys, even though I fly so much already offline. Well, during recording sessions. Does make a world of difference flying live. Hey Da, how are you? Hope you're having a great day. Thanks Tom, it's great to hear. Made 230 mil. Goodness, how did you manage that? What jobs are you doing? Have you succumbed to the techniques that I've been using? The what do you call it? The weapons trading. Congrats to Craig. Got his cutter. Oh my goodness, I can still remember that day when I got the Drift King. Hey San Simiano, thanks for making it. Sorry to hear about your flight sim troubles. Hopefully they have not been so severe recently. Jack is talking about Elite Dangerous. 50 million missions, goodness. Those are trading missions? Combat missions? Anyway, so let's get started on this. Let me load it up. We will be flying with the Beechcraft Bonanza G36 along with the G1000 because the mods that have been implemented by the community here is amazing. It's coming pretty close to study level with all the things that they're putting in. And I really love it. And I'm watching recently a YouTuber, go and check him out. Martin Pauly is his name. He flies a Bonanza in real life and he makes videos of his flights. Very informative, very entertaining, and very like real life, you know, not like the super rich, unattainable kind of guys. It's like, maybe I can manage that if I save up enough. You know, there's that kind of realism to it. It's not all fantasy. So I love watching him. And I've been learning a lot with his videos. Okay, so Changi Airport, Charlie Yankee Romeo India is the IKEA code for the airport we are starting in. Let's go and see that. I have 85 hours now in my profile. Actually, let me see if it's getting logged here, because I remember San Simiano had that problem of logging. I haven't really checked it myself. My logbook. G36, it seems like it is, considering that, yeah, this one I did yesterday, just doing some patterns, so it does seem like it is logging for me. I don't know why. Sometimes that has a problem. Okay, so let's load up Charlie, Yankee, Romeo, India, Riviere-Du-Loop. Now it is night right now over here, so we will switch down the timing. Maybe a sunrise setting would work nicely, so we can see the sunrise as we depart from this airport. 6 a.m. might be nice. We'll adjust as needed, and we'll use live weather. Let's see how that works. GA small sounds good. Let's change our tail number for this flight. Seeing as we are in the Americas, let's just put in a November tail number. November 36 for G36. And then of course the tail number that I am pretty familiar with, 1 Charlie Lima. So November 36, 1 Charlie Lima, or Bonanza 36, 1 Charlie Lima. Looks good right there. Oh, and you cannot even see the call sign I'm putting in because of my face, huh? Sorry about that, but you'll see it later in the plane. What was his link? I linked it in the latest on-air episode in YouTube, but you can probably just search for him, Martin Pauly. Pauly is Papa Alpha Uniform Lima Yankee. Hey Alex, glad you made it. How are you, man? Have you been trucking? What the latest trucks have you found? Alex is our resident mod finder in Truck Sim. Goodness, the things he finds, I don't know. He has a talent. Changi Airport is currently serving 1.5% of normal capacity. Oh my goodness, that's so bad. Oh, and this is so bad. This is so dark. Might have gotten this a bit too dark. Alright. Let's see if we can adjust that. Let's turn on the batteries first. Turn on the floodlights so we can get some lights in here. Acknowledge the warnings. Now, one thing I have not really found here in this plane, and you might know, where is the brightness for the panels? Set the parking brake. I've been looking for it forever, and I could not find it. My goodness. Turn the lights here. There should be a brightness knob. I see this panel knob, but I don't see the brightness knob itself. 1 second, if I go down here, will I see it? That's the parking brake. No, not here. Let's set the trims up 3. Yeah, I can't really see it. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's in the yoke. Doesn't seem like it. No, I don't see it. Could it be here? These are the circuit breakers. You've been hunting. There you go. Thanks a lot, Alex. Yeah. That is the YouTube link. Oh, you can see actually it's peeking out a bit already. Okay, let's keep this kind of lighting. It is pretty scenic after all. And yeah, as the sun peeks out, we should get a nice view. In the meantime, you can enjoy this night feel. One sec. Did I lose any other? Doing farm sim in real life. Ooh, living the life there. Nice. Safe and happy travels to your mom, Tom. Been silently watching videos to unwind. No time to comment. No problem, HUD. That is great to hear. Yes, I'm looking forward to doing more of those. So we don't really have any flight plan today. We are starting off on this airport. We'll probably be climbing to around 2,500. That would be a perfect VFR altitude. Let me change the unit of measure for the altitude to inches of mercury. 299 or something. Press B just so we can get that easily. And where are we now? There you go. Hey, Sinizoro. How are you, man? Sorry, I did miss you, I think, a while ago, huh? That was my bad. Yes, you've been here since the start. Thanks for joining, man. Rolled your truck in a hairpin today. Man, that sounds so familiar. Not that I'm laughing at you, but I'm laughing because it sounds so familiar in my case as well. Just tune in the VOR here, 113.9. 113.9, that is it. Track that, yes. Yankee Romeo India. That is the VOR in this airport. Cool. Yes, we are. Prince Edward Island. Hey, Rohan, glad you made it early today. Wow. So here we are in the map, guys. Very dark today, but here's the map. We are going to travel via the St. Lawrence River. So we'll be departing from Riviere-Du-Loop Airport. And we'll make our way through, tracing the highway. What is this? E20. Highway 20. How do you call your highways again, Scotsman? In Scotsman, we'll be touring us around as we travel along. We'll see some airports along the way. We can land or check out some landmarks if we see something. So we'll go through around all the way, tracing the outer edges of the island until we reach Prince Edward Island right here. And this is where we'll be going to Charlottetown. There is a VOR here as well. Might be good to track it to 113.8. Let's track that in nav2. Why is that not changeable? That is bugged, I think. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to check if that's from the mod. Maybe that broke. Okay. Highway 20, there you go, thank you. Kind of the 3-letter airport codes have lots of Y's and Z's for some reason. Yet. Goodness. Feeling okay? Yeah, my voice. A bit of morning allergies. Nothing serious though. Alright, let's go and start up this plane. If I remember, that is propeller, high RPM, mixture full rich, throttle full forward. Let's turn on the fuel pump just for a few seconds. Get some fuel in there for starting the engine. Put the throttle to 1/2 inch and magnetos to both, and then start it up. That sounds good. Lower the throttle down to 1,000 RPM. My goodness, still pitch black outside. Now we can turn on the avionics. 11 degrees outside. Wow, quite cold. I can zoom out here. There you go. So you can get a nice view of things. If I tune into the VOR at the Charlottetown, no, it's too far away. Can't track it yet. Maybe as we climb, as we move forward, we'll see. Okay, that looks good. Let's turn on the nav lights here so we have a little bit of visibility. I like those reflections. I think that even the reflections are from a mod. Hate allergies too, I know, right? Highways are different from province to province. I see. Hey, Gamaste. Thanks for 7 months, man. 3-month streak. Goodness. How are you enjoying on air? Appreciate that. Turn off the floodlights. Maybe Gamaste, you know, how do you set the brightness on the G36? I've been looking for the panel forever, the knob. I know this one, but where is the brightness? And I found this mod, so there is no tooltip anymore, but if you hold Alt, you can actually bring back the tooltip. So it's a step forward, especially if you're not familiar with the plane, but you don't want those pesky tooltips always there. You can just hold Alt to keep it, and then remove Alt to get rid of all the tooltips available. Nice. I have no idea. No worries. Oh my goodness, it's pitch black outside. Might be good to accelerate time a bit. Let's go and change that just little by little. We are using live weather. Ah, there we go. That's perfect. Yes. How about that, guys? That actually looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Didn't even know there was a person in front of us. It's that dark. Oh my goodness. Okay. Right, so let's look at the map here. Where are we? Winds are coming from the southwest, so probably going to be good to take that other runway. Let's have a look. Runway 23 would be the best. We'll have to back taxi a bit. Yeah, that's fine. Do you want pilot to ATC? I can bring it up just for the chatter. Let me bring that up. Let's load it. Canada and its low temperatures, I know, right? I wish you could get somewhere close to that here. No prime today. I hope you get it back eventually, Tom. You have a French exam later at 2:30. Ah, I see. So you have different schools for different languages? That's how it works? Is that part of the curriculum, or is that more of an optional thing that you're taking because you really like it? Okay, that's pilot to ATC. Let's go and connect. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, there you go. We don't have any tower here. Yeah, we do have like a CTAF, I think, 122.77. So let's tune into that, and we'll also tune into tower later, so we can request flight following if ever, but I don't think we'll need to. So I'm not sure how that works in pilot to ATC. You can go and test it though. 125.1. So how have you guys been doing? What have you been up to recently? Right. So let's go and speak here. Riviere-Du-Loop. You guys hearing that? Radio communications. Riviere-Du-Loop traffic. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima taxiing to runway 23. Riviere-Du-Loop traffic. Almost forgot what the airport name is. 230 on the heading.
Rapid traffic, Victor turning downwind for 15.
Go. Alright. Let's release the parking brake. Let's do a entire turnaround thing here to avoid this guy. Hello to Flying Scotsman for me. Say hello to Flying Scotsman for me. I think that's what he said. Yes, exactly. You got it. Release the parking brake. There you go. It's 15 where you live. It's not too bad, huh? Let's go around all the way. Try to avoid these aircrafts. That's unfair. It's unfair because it's so hot here. Beautiful. This getting a bit laggy, but nothing that serious. Hope you guys are also not lagging that bad. I don't have any frame drop, so that should be okay. My synthetic vision is acting up though in this airport. Okay, coming to the runway here. Runway looks clear, I don't hear anything in the traffic, so we'll announce. Riviere-Du-Loop traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Back taxiing to runway 23, departing to the north. Riviere-Du-Loop traffic. Okay. Landing lights, strobe and nav lights are on as well. Looking good there. Cowl flaps, let's not forget that. Let's open that for takeoff. And let's also squawk VFR here. Let me see. Transponder, VFR, and then altitude mode. Okay. Strobes are on. You can see that flickering on the left and right sides. I like that lighting mod. Hey, that's all. Yes, still flying the Bonanza. Loving this plane. I love it when I can fly a plane in the sim and watch real people in YouTube flying the real thing. I learn so much from them, and I get to feel like I'm doing something that they do. So it takes the immersion to another level, because you have a real point of reference, how they fly it, how it performs, how it feels. Freezing in Fahrenheit is 32. Ah, I see. You hate ice but you love snow. There was someone who commented in YouTube when I made these voice effects, made them more high frequency, so it distorts the audio. They say the radio now sounds like the Charlie Brown's parents. You know how it is when the adults in the Peanuts series speak. They sound like this now. 30 degrees sounds so cold. Not in Celsius at least, right? Completely different thing. 30 degrees Celsius sounds more like home. 12 there, oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Summer is officially over, huh? Well, it has been for a while, I think, right? Okay, the wind's here. 213 at 6 knots. Riviere-Du-Loop traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima departing runway 23, then turning right to the north. Riviere-Du-Loop traffic. Okay. Ready for takeoff. Little bit of aileron deflection to the left. Wind is coming from the left. There we go. 73 knots. Rotate. Beautiful. Keep that heading. Positive rate. Tap the brakes. Gear up. And let's keep that. Just keep on climbing. Keep that altitude heading. That runway heading, rather. We are passing through the VOR. You can see the needle changing in the PFD. I didn't notice much of a change, no worries. No problem. Looking good here. Alright. Start our turn. Riviere-Du-Loop traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima leaving the vicinity to the north. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. They get the point, maybe. Singapore is the opposite of most places. We wear our coats and jackets in the 18-degree malls and offices. Yes, exactly. Yeah. we find excuses to wear cold weather stuff by making it colder indoors. Right, let's pull back on the RPM here. Set RPM to 2,500 for that cruising speed. You can also hear it changing. Manifold pressure, let's also put down to 25. Not sure if you guys can see that, it's a bit small. There it is. That's the one I'm looking for. The first two dials on the top left, 25 and 2500. And then we'll try to go down back to 2500. Oh, that's beautiful, having this like city lighting. Perfect balance between daytime and nighttime. Hottest flight and throttled for Black Friday. Nice. When is that coming? Black Friday. When is Thanksgiving? Isn't that like November? I always forget when it is. Okay, from here on out, you balance stuff like so. Let me just lean the engine, guys, and then I'll be back with you fully. So lean the engine, try to keep it level. Alright, so right now the EGT is 804. So I'm going to lean it. I'm going to pull back on the mixture knob, that red thing, which you can barely see. The EGT is climbing, so we're going to the peak. As we pull this, the temperature will go higher and higher and higher until around 860 degrees normally. And then that will be the peak, and as we continue pulling back, it will then decrease. So that's the peak, 872, and as we pull, that will now go down. There we go, and that's the lean of peak. Perfect. Right, so we'll keep that. Keep it a very healthy temperature for inside the engine. And now I can maintain this. So we lost a couple of knots probably in terms of airspeed, but we are saving up a lot more fuel. Oh, no more lights outside. Oh, that's too bad. But we do have amazing sunlight shining through now. Oh, beautiful. Sunrise is my favorite. I am a morning person, so that explains things. Can turn off our landing lights here, taxi lights. Everything else will be on. New monitor on Black Friday. Nice. We can actually switch to center now, just to monitor the frequency and get some chatter, but I won't be talking with them, I don't think. Thanksgiving is November 26. Okay, so late November, right? At least I got that very mildly. Traditional start of Christmas shopping. That's perfect timing, isn't it? So we'll just go back to 2500 here. 2500 feet. Physics and chemistry. Oh my goodness, I remember those days. I did enjoy physics, chemistry not so much. For me, physics is very practical, chemistry is more theoretical, but I'm sure Mr. Walter White would disagree with me. They all have their own applications. Man, look at the clouds there, huh? Super fluffy, my goodness. That feels so low. Good thing we have nice weather here. Can maintain VFR. Thanksgiving in Canada is on October 12th in the United States. Oh, and we can actually close the cowl flaps now. Don't need that much ventilation on the engine. That should give us a couple more knots in airspeed. So let me know when you spot something nice. But for now, we just fly. I hand fly this thing. Try to keep it at 2500. Try to keep it level. And we'll see how far we can get. Hey, Kema. How are you, man? Thanks for joining. October 12th is Thanksgiving in Canada. That's the one I always miss. So you have to speak up, Scotsman, when it's your time so we can give you greetings. Now I am going too low. It's interesting.
South 41, good morning, radar contact, Clumsy, 1010, turn left, heading 220 vectors for the climb.
Never left your hometown. That's the cool thing about that. Japan scenery, yes, we did last week. It's very nice. Some very nice custom buildings. We explored Japan last week. Started in Tokyo, went around, got some crashes, fixed it eventually, and then continued on exploring Mount Fuji. Very nice.
American 1832 planning 260 vectors for the climb.
Man, I love the feel of the yoke.
1832 clear,
I like the feel of the yoke much better than the joystick. Because the yoke, the springs are very strong normally, I think. So you really get that kind of fake force feedback. With the stick, it's a bit basic, so you don't really feel much spring strength. At least from the cheap ones I have. If you have a high-end one, then that's a different story. But yeah, cheap yoke and cheap joystick, the cheap yoke I think feels much better. You're still holding your laptop? Me too. I wonder why. I wonder why they wouldn't let you out, guys. Also, is the sound level okay? Is the engine too loud? Let me know so I can adjust. I think I did tone it down a bit, but maybe that's still a bit too loud for you guys. Court order. A permanent restraining order. Alex can never go out of his town for the sake of everyone else. Yikes. Yeah, the lockdown only applies to Alex, I think. Good job on the bridges, roads, buildings, and stadiums near your house. Oh, that's cool. Which area are you from specifically, Keima? Are you near Tokyo by any chance? Where did I find the yoke in Singapore? I bought it physically, if I remember correctly. Oh yes, I was looking in Lazada. There was a shop in somewhere in Orchard, Far East Plaza, I think. But it's closed now. But I think they're still open as an online store. But basically, I got this one as like one of their last sales as a retail store before they closed down their physical shop. So I would suggest checking Lazada or Shopee and then coordinating with them, because I tried ordering through there and they messaged me back, can you just pick it up from the store? I guess that would save up on some costs for them, so Lazada wouldn't be able to get their cut or something like that. Hey DH, glad you made it to the stream, and thank you GG for the sub, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for the gesture. Appreciate you making it. Must be a very awkward time there for you. American who lives in Japan, that's amazing. How are you liking Japan? How long have you been there? I've had a couple of friends who moved there as well. They are loving it. I feel envious anytime they post the pictures. Oh man, yeah, the feel of the yoke is definitely something. Like the spring constantly trying to fight back with you as you try and just keep it level like this. Makes it feel real. What's with the emojis? Yokohama. Ah, I see. Yokohama is part of the huge Tokyo metropolitan area. Thank you for the additional info. That gives me context. That helps. Nice. Well, that's great to hear that they managed to do that accurately. I did, when we flew there last week, I did spot a few of the landmarks that we've gone to when we were there shortly. When we visited there, especially that bridge. Of course, I forgot that looping bridge. And I was able to find a video of it that I took when we were there. That was very nice. Just south of Tokyo. Ah, nice. What's ATC saying? Yeah, just random rambling. Just something to fill the dead air with radio frequencies to make it a bit more realistic. But not to the point that we really understand what they're saying. ADH. Hey, thanks man. That means a lot. Thank you for all the effort you've gone through. ADH. Thanks for being a sub. And if you are into Discord, feel free to join us there as well. !Discord. That should get you some additional benefits. Access to some exclusive stuff for patrons and Twitch subs, where I share some behind the scenes stuff from time to time. It's nothing fancy, but it's just a small token of my appreciation to get you in on the good stuff. I might have some things coming as well. I hope it pushes through, but I don't have any confirmation on that yet, so I don't want to jinx it. So I'll announce when it's final. But yeah, you guys will be the first to know if ever. Because you guys, thank you for all the support. Giver by the River videos. Who is that? Timing for the stream isn't bad. Yeah, that's true. Right now it's what, 9:40 in Japan? Not too bad. You can use me as like downtime from work. If there's work. I see something blinking up ahead. There must be an airport there. You can see how that looks from above. I actually see a plane. 2 hour 10, 11 o'clock. It's a generic aircraft. 39,000 feet though, so I doubt we'll be able to see them, but let's try and spot them. Oh my goodness, that looks so beautiful. Let's take a screenshot of that. Oh, actually the sky is clear past this cloud layer, huh? Yeah, the guy should be somewhere there. 39,000 feet, but the clouds are too thick to see. Look at that, we actually managed to stay at 2,500, even if I let go of the yoke fully. And now we're gone. As soon as I hold the yoke again, we climb back up. Unsub not telling us. Wait a minute, I missed something. Hey Keima, thank you for the sub. My goodness, did that sound? Alright, why did I miss that? Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the support. The suspense is killing me. Oh my goodness, it's killing me too. But I wish I can share with you soon. But even I don't know if it will push through, so we'll have to wait. We are on the yellow zone here in the speed tape. Might be going a bit too fast. Although the yellow zone is, I don't think, bad. I think it's just an area where you cannot maneuver. But if you're just going straight, it should be fine, the yellow zone. That's what I know about it. If you know differently, let me know. Where's the Bonanza flying? We're somewhere in Canada. Scotsman will be able to tell you more details. He's our tour guide for today. I'm just flying wherever he tells me to. Hey D-Bird, glad you made it from the East Coast. Nice. What time is it there? Almost 9 p.m. Cool. Prime time. Hey Bri, how are you guys doing? Thank you for joining a flying stream. You don't often get as much activity in the flight stream, so really appreciate it that you guys made the effort to drop by and hang out. But now I don't have much workload, just keeping the plane level here, enjoying the views, so we can talk more at least. 8:42, there you go, thank you. So the YouTuber I'm following, Martin Pauly, who flies a Bonanza in real life, he is from Iowa, I think, and I believe that's somewhere in the center of the US. How do you call it? Midlands? But let me know if that's wrong. I think I told you guys about it last week and you confirmed that, if I remember correctly. And he flies to everywhere. Chicago, Florida, San Francisco. Man, it must be so nice being a pilot in the US. You have so many places you can go to. I'm wondering if that can be a thing in Asia. That's one thing that I am. That's one of my new dreams, you know, becoming a pilot, having my own plane. Doesn't have to be a jet, of course. Can be a very old school plane that's sturdy, that I grow into and I learn how to fly. And fly it everywhere with Mrs. Clumsy. That's one of the reasons why I like Martin Pauly's videos, because it looks so real. It seems like it can be achievable. Maybe in my middle ages. That makes sense. And yeah, he also takes his wife along with the flights, and they get to go anywhere and enjoy some meals together, go on trips together using the plane. So it's like, man, that is the ideal thing. I'll be able to tap into Mrs. Clumsy's love for traveling, and I'll be able to use my love of flying. Win-win. I'm just not sure if she will be willing to ride with me on the plane as a pilot, but maybe eventually I will be able to convince her. But first I'll have to convince everyone else. Midwest, I think it's Midwest, yes, I think so. Hey PDX, glad you made it, man. Rimouski should be coming up soon. Oh yeah, you're right. That should be here on our left. On our 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Field elevation is 73 feet, so pretty close to the shore there. Pretty close to sea level. We'll see if we spot it from here. Doing some exercise before shower and sleep. Good habits. Good on you. That's where you're from. Ah, I see. It's below Minnesota. And he even shares like videos on how the life is as an owner of a plane. It's not all fancy because you have to maintain your plane. So especially during winter, you have to like shovel the snow out of the hangar and make sure that your heaters are turning on so that the plane, the engine oil won't freeze and stuff like that. So all the realistic things he also features. So it's like, wow, it's like living in the eyes of an owner. It's not only the highlights but also the hassles. There you go. That's Rimouski. That's the airport blinking thing on our left there. Maybe we can do a touch and go. Oh my goodness, the winds here are pretty strong, guys. 229 at 28 knots. Let's do a downwind here. And let's go inland. Let me lower down the manifold pressure here. And descend a bit. Yeah, exactly, right, Hud? If you're a real pilot in Singapore, where would you go? Yeah, so a very different thing. In the Philippines, there are more places to go to, definitely. But yeah, in Singapore, it's more like practicing. I think I can get behind that. That's mainly if the budget allows it. Right now, the budget does not allow it, so yeah. Been sitting in then for 8 hours. Yeah, sounds familiar with me also. Literally the border runs right down the middle of the town. Rimouski traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Downwind, runway. Probably don't have to hold the runway 25. Rimouski traffic. We are pretty high. We are pretty fast. Let's slow down even more. There we go, losing airspeed. flaps down 1 notch. Should be below 154 knots, so it should be safe. Landing gear down. Let's just do a little touch and go here. Embarrass myself with the landing. Runway heading 250. We zoom in to double check that that is indeed 250. 247 to be more accurate. There you go. One sec guys, I'll be back with you shortly. Alright, there you go. Rimouski traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, turning base, runway 25, touch and go. Rimouski traffic. Descending too fast here. Rimouski traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, turning final, touch and go, runway 25, Rimouski traffic. To 60 km/h wind gust today. Maybe it's not even safe to fly this thing, huh? I think this plane has a maximum crosswind component of 17 knots, but I don't think that we're reaching that here. Yeah, although the wind component is 17 knots here, that's not a full crosswind, although it is crosswind. Right, going full flaps here, turning on our landing and taxi lights. Opening the cowl flaps because we will be taking off right afterwards. But look at how much we're crabbing here, guys. So we will be facing the left because of the wind, but we will be headed straight for the runway. That one.
500.
Actually, it's not too bad. It's not too crosswindy, not as much as I expected. So I'll be back with you guys shortly. Let me just try and make an acceptable landing here. Rimouski traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, short final, runway 25, touch and go. Rimouski traffic. That should be okay. We'll do a side slip as we go closer to the runway. There we go. Bit floaty. That's okay. There we go. Flaps up. RPM full. Mixture full. Throttle full. Trims I have not been able to check, but rotation speed, off we go. Positive rate, gear up. Rimouski traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, departing runway 25, turning left to the north. Rimouski traffic. Alright, I'm getting back to you now. Should not be that much hassle anymore in the workload. Niagara Falls. I have never been to Canada. I'm assuming that's somewhere there, right? Let's turn to the north here. We are facing southwest at the moment. So let's turn left. Go back. Trace the north again. So let's do a 180 basically. Yeah, drifting, exactly. Sorry guys. A bit behind on the chat. Rate his landing. 10 out of 10, wow. How generous of you. As long as parts of the airplane makes it on the runway, you give it a 10. Okay. Thank you for being kind. Fuel quantity low. Oh crap. Would this still rate me a 10? So here, if you look, at the fuel quantity, our left tank is now in the yellow zone. The right tank is still in the middle. Why? Because this plane does not have an automatic switching of the tanks. You have to switch it manually. And from what I've seen from Martin Pauly's videos, this is pretty realistic. He actually doesn't switch over his tanks until he is gliding distance of the destination. I guess the rationale there is so that whenever he... Wait a sec. Let's go down to 2500 here. I think the rationale there is so in case something goes wrong with the fuel switching, the tank switching, it doesn't work, suddenly the engine stops, he would still be able to glide to his destination. So he doesn't do that every now and then. He, I think, only does it once every trip. So that will be a good excuse for us for not switching early. So now we'll switch over here, and that should start using the right tank, I think. We are flying a Bonanza, Beechcraft Bonanza G36. A very nice single engine piston. Single piston engine plane. Let's descend to 2500 again. And let's turn off this map. Don't really need that, because it's been flickering all throughout and it's beaving me out. Niagara Falls is US-Canada border. Ah, I see. Southeast Canada, Northeast US. Cool. Which state is it in? Have you guys been there in real life? This should be the last major town before we hit Charlottetown. Sit back and enjoy the scenery. Oh, definitely am. We chose a nice time to fly this here in the morning as we get that beautiful view outside. Frame rate is not bad, huh? Let's have a look at the frame rate. 31, 33, yeah, it's pretty comfortable. Nothing fancy, but pretty good. And if you look at my CPU, it's boosting to 4.1 gigs. No thread is getting fully utilized, and I'm already streaming at this point, so yeah, pretty good. Overall CPU utilization is only 39%. Loads on the cores are more or less even. I like the multi-threading capabilities here in this sim. In X-Plane, this would always be just like one core being used, bottlenecking me to the maximum. Here at least there is more core splitting. That's why in X-Plane an Intel CPU is always the winner. Well, maybe that will change with Zen 3. Is it Zen 3? Yeah, Zen 3. The newest CPUs that will be releasing soon, right? Early October. Oh my goodness, there's another airport there. I don't think I want to do a touch and go anymore though. I think I've used up my landing points already. My landing luck, more like. Okay, let's lean the engine again. I'm not yet leaning. So let's do that. Pull back on the mixture. Lean the mixture here. Exhaust gas temperature EGT is going hot. That's the peak, and now it falls down. So maybe let's stay around 850. 850 degrees. Yes, perfect. Huffy fallen so low. Literally. Climb back up to 2500 and I will trim it out bit by bit. It is pretty windy. If you look at the winds, we have a 27 knot wind coming from the southwest. It is pushing us forward though, so we are getting a lot faster thanks to that. So if you look at our ground speed, we're at 186 knots. Even if in our true airspeed is only 164 knots, so we're getting like 23 knot tailwind. We're going faster by 23 knots. How is that in miles? Maybe around 30 miles per hour. So we're getting a 30 mile per hour boost simply because of the winds. The winds are in our favor right now. Very lucky. Loved one day to fly up to Canada and stay there for Canada Day on July 1st. Yeah, I've never been to Canada, anywhere in Canada. Where would you guys suggest a first timer go to? Maybe I can put that in my bucket list. Niagara Falls is in New York. Ah, I see. The US side is nothing to get excited about. Ah, but the Canada side is much better. Canada is big, bigger than the US. My goodness, really? How many provinces do you have in Canada? Is it like split? Much so like the US, where you have like 50 states and everything? Putin. Quebec City. Oh, we can meet up and I can finally see your house, Scotsman. Vancouver. Would love to visit too, particularly the French-speaking part. Is Quebec the most European-looking one? Lots of influence left from there. Hey, Bri. Yes, no problem, man. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out with us for a bit. Catch you next time. Canada side at Niagara Falls used to have many attractions, may be different now. Yeah, unfortunately, this entire thing that's happening with our world is, yeah, we can't really expect things to stay the same, huh? My goodness. I just got a notification. Normally, I pay my bills. It's like, what do they call it? Auto debit? It gets automatically charged to my credit card. Even the simple things change. And suddenly I got a notice from my broadband provider that they're not able to do that right now. I have to pay manually for the moment because their provider, they have like there's an intermediary company that does that automatic payment on our behalf. That company closed down because of everything that's happening, I guess. So it's a bit like, how can that kind of company close down when it's something related to more or less online stuff? But yeah, even the not fully physical companies are getting hit. How much more the tourism industry, the service industry and whatnot. Oh, lots of windmills below. Very nice. I hope we don't get the drafts from there. get whipped around. Flying nearby windmills probably isn't a good idea, but it is pretty scenic, I'll give it that. So many windmills here. Well, that's nice. And yeah, I think these windmills are reflective. I mean, in terms of how much they move, that is realistic to how much wind there is. So right now that there's a 27 knot wind coming from the southwest, I think that's actually pretty strong. So pretty dramatic movement from the windmills right now. Yeah, pretty bad when a company that takes automatic payments goes out. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's because of the entire economic situation, but I would guess that's the main reason. Not like they can't get... Exactly, I was wondering what happened, but it's a bit of a hassle, but yeah, I can do manual payments, no problem. It's just sad hearing that from the company. Let me zoom out here in Little Nav Map, see if we can do any other tracking. 1 second. I don't see any VORs. Maybe we can tune into Charlottetown. Am I reading that right, Charlottetown? That one. Still not. Still quite far away from it. Okay, it's fine. And maybe I can try and level off and trim properly here. You've had so many small shops and restaurants around, you go out of business. Yeah. I think this hits a lot of the small businesses more, because the big businesses probably will have either emergency funds, access to more bigger lines of credit, or in terms of airliners, the governments will be able to buy them out or save them because the government needs them. But the small businesses, they're on their own. And I guess depending on the country, you get your own relief and stuff. But yeah, I doubt that will be enough. So it's really hard for the small businesses the most, I think. How about for you, Alex, your business? Did you get any difference in terms of like customer or activities since this entire year? Or has it remained more or less the same? Because I guess it would vary largely depending on your industry and your audience. Didn't change at all. That's great to hear, man. That is great to hear. Yeah, it's mostly the same for me. I have been fortunate enough to not get, well, crossing my fingers. Yeah, because I work in IT. So not as heavy impact as others. But yeah, your mileage will vary a lot. Please hire me. Letting you buy their first class in-flight meals to deliver home. Oh yeah, I saw that. Do you know anything about it? Are their meals that good? Or is it more maybe some kind of thing to support them? I saw they initially had this flights to nowhere plan, but they scrapped it. And now they're going with that instead. From what I've seen, I think there's an article you can actually rent their simulators. So you can like fly an A380 using their simulator. That looks pretty promising, but it is pretty pricey. But yeah, it's great to see that they're looking for ways to get revenue and make money. Even if actual travel isn't a thing, they have to make money somehow. Itchy employee. Oh, not sure if I can recommend that. Would be in charge of installing horns. Oh my goodness. Essay. Hey, Austravel. Thank you for joining. How are you? Thanks for greeting the chat. So many windmills here. I guess that makes sense. They must have, yeah, I guess they chose a pretty nice spot. I wonder if the winds in this area are pretty much like this consistently. SA position filled. There you go. We're actually traveling far enough that my fuel is going down. Normally when I fly, I don't even need to think about fuel. Because I only travel short distances, the fuel is no factor. Starting in the middle, the default fuel level, which is both tanks filled to 50%, is more than enough. But I think this time, yeah, we do have some fuel left. But when that right tank goes near the yellow, I think I will start looking for a nearby airport. We can refuel, and then we can continue. Thanks for joining us, Travel. I guess I have an idea where you are from, but just to be sure, where are you from? Man, the skies look so good. We have just enough clouds to keep it interesting, but so far away from us to even become a factor. So good. Thank you for following us, Travel. Appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. There you go. Melbourne. I have a couple of friends and relatives who live there now. They all say great things about Melbourne. Actually, before this entire 2020 hit, we were thinking of going there to do a bit of ocular to see if that's somewhere we would like to move to, if it's a possibility. Of course, all the plans got put on hold. But I heard it's a very good place to settle down and plant some roots. Lurk mode, sure thing, Jack. Are you starting on your DIY invisible PC? Have you guys seen that video? For those who haven't, check out the Discord server, !Discord. Tech Talk. Jack shared some interesting videos. There's a very prominent YouTuber, DIYer. My goodness, his DIY skills. He made a table. The PC was inside the table. All the computer parts. So if you look at it from outside, it just looks like a simple table. But then you have like a power button, and then it would boot up. And then he made an invisible monitor to go along with it. My goodness. Cleanest look I've ever seen. I probably wouldn't do that though, because it's not the best in terms of performance, as you can imagine. The cooling will not be optimal. But in terms of aesthetics, my goodness. If you don't need a powerhouse PC, that is definitely one way to go. It's going to play Kingdom Come. Is that the one with the horse? What was the name of your horse again? Going to eat. I think that's more like it. Who did that? Not sure of his name, but you can see it in the Tech Talk channel, Tom. There are links to the videos there. The horse. Has anyone else been trucking in ETS2, checking out Krishmum sounds? I'm absolutely loving the next-gen Scania again thanks to his new sounds. Not sure I'm a fan of the interior sound so much though. They were a bit muffly for my taste, so I had to revert back to the SES default. Where are we right now? Let me show you the map. We just went past the... Oh, how do you read this? Matan Airport? We're right there. So I guess we're like 1/3 of the way. Because that's where we're going, Prince Edward Island. So I guess here in this airport in Ste-Anne-Des-Monts. Oh my goodness, all these pronunciations. We can probably refuel. Although the winds are not the best for that airport, but we'll make a way. We'll do a bit of crosswind landing in there somehow. Same sounds as the previous version, just imported to F-Mod. I don't know if it's just my goldfish memory, but I like it. Maybe it's just been so long since I've driven a next-gen Scania. I absolutely love the sound it makes as it climbs RPMs and switches gears. Haven't played ETS2 in over 2 months. Have you been playing at all, Alex? Or is real life keeping you busy? Busy days. Ste-Anne-Des-Monts has an airport there. Is that like a town, a city? My goodness, pilots. No wonder we have so many pilots in the Americas region. So many places to go to. Been in ATS. Nice. What truck have you been driving? It's a town. So we should see some houses then, huh? Might need to make your trip a 2-part event. Yeah, we might need a bigger plane for that, Tom. We'll see if we can squeeze that into this stream or next one. Oh, podcast trucking. Yes, definitely. Definitely agree. What kind of podcasts are you listening to, Rohan? Or are you just saying that for my sake? The new Western Star. I see a lot of people hating on the new Western Star, but I like it. I guess the lack of customization is their main gripe. Well, that in the sounds for sure, but since we have Detroit Diesel 60 series, I don't have any complaints there. Are you also using the DD60 series, Alex? Oh yeah, Joe Rogan. He has a very nice podcast. I think he has one of the biggest podcasts ever, right? The Joe Rogan Experience. And I think his content is very nice. I just haven't had time to listen to him so much. That is an interesting question, Scotsman. EVR kind of stopped. Well, kind of is. He has not released anything in a bit. So I'm not sure if he has, if what's up with him. Maybe he's busy in real life. Maybe I guess the last update from him, I think he was working on some, I think he was trying to help out in the entire pandemic situation. Maybe doing logistic stuff, delivering more stuff, relief goods or something. But I think from what I've seen before, he was helping out a lot. Maybe that's keeping him occupied, and if so, then great on him for doing that. He made a huge deal with Spotify, so he's moved there now. Ah, I see. Was he in YouTube before? I see. Yeah, that's a bit sad though for me personally only, because I listen to podcasts on a different app. It's called Pocket Casts. It's very user friendly. I like it. It automatically downloads the podcasts that you tag and puts them in a playlist, so you can just listen to them, just press play and everything plays on its own. So I don't really use Spotify for podcasts, but some of my favorite podcasts, some Filipino ones, they got an exclusive deal with Spotify, which is, I'm happy for them. I'm just not happy for myself because I have to move to Spotify to listen to them now. And I'm not sure how the podcast in Spotify works. If you're on the free version, do you also get ads? That's, I guess, my main reservation about moving to Spotify. The DD60 and Clumsy skin. Oh, I have not even tried the Clumsy skin yet. I've seen your photos though. Thanks a lot to Chrissy for that. Still have to check it out. Thanks, man. He still uploads the podcast on YouTube too. Ah, I see. So he has a deal with Spotify, but it's not an exclusive deal. Okay, that's great to hear. Yeah, because the podcast I listen to in the Philippines, they got an exclusive. So they had to stop publishing to other platforms. I'm actually not sure how it works in the podcast industry, in the podcast world, because if you guys listen to them, like, you can choose any podcast app, like if it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, or anything. It seems like they tap onto the same servers. It's not like if you go to YouTube, you only get to the YouTube uploaded videos. Here it seems like the podcasts are on a central server and all the apps refer to that same server. At least it feels like that. Except Spotify. I think Spotify is a completely separate platform. Completely separate list. But yeah, the others, it seems to me they refer to the same thing, which is quite interesting. Very different from our usual YouTube, Twitch way of doing things. Made a deal with Spotify for 100 million. Wow. I wonder what that entails on his side. I guess he would just be mentioning Spotify and featuring them in his podcast. But I'm sure both sides win in that case. That's nice. Thanks, DH. Appreciate the sub, man, and thanks for hanging out, even if it's very uncomfortable for your time. Appreciate the effort and catch you on YouTube. Have a great night. Oh my goodness, the windmills are not running out. Is it a windmill or a wind turbine? That's the more accurate term. Would assume his podcasts are Spotify exclusive for a time. Ah, yeah, that can be a thing. Like he releases the latest ones on Spotify and then in other platforms a few days later, something like that. That would make sense. And for the fans, for sure, they would like to get the latest content without delay. I also don't use Spotify anymore. Ever since I subscribed to YouTube Premium, I've been using YouTube Music. I paid for it already. Why not? So that I don't get ads. You don't either. Yeah, so I was a bit reluctant to go into and check the exclusive ones. the ads can take away a bit from the experience, but if you're in free version, then it's something that you have to live with. Oh my goodness, this area has even more wind pulls. Wind things. Maybe it's a technical term, wind things. Now we're coming across some clouds here. Let's try and avoid these. Even though they're a bit thin, don't want to get into clouds in VFR. There should be an airport right here. I think runway 14 is going to be the runway. I think that's it already. Or is it that blinking one? Probably. Yeah, that blinking one. Okay. Let's set up for right base here. Look at this. I like this feature. You can actually get a ruler here in Little Nav Map if you want to know how far you are away. Measure distance from here. Measure it like that. We are around 7 miles away. That's like in the real life in the 4 flight app. So let's tune in to the Unicom frequency. Let's put it like that maybe. How do you call this airport? Ste-Anne-Des-Monts, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. 7 miles to the west of the airport. Inbound runway 14. Ste-Anne-Des-Monts. Traffic. That is a wreck. I'll have to live with that. Wind turbine. Yes, let's go with the wind turbine. I think that's more professional sounding. And looks like it's just perfect timing to land and refuel, seeing as how both of our fuel tanks are getting to the yellow zone. You don't use Spotify either. I used to use Spotify a lot before I went into YouTube Premium, and I had to live with the ads because it gave me a lot of songs and everything. So it was pretty convenient, but yeah, I hated the ads. First notch of flaps, landing gear. What I don't like about this layout, you can actually not see the greens. 3 greens right there, but the yoke is hiding that from view, at least from this view. Okay, I see the runway. I have it in sight. St. Anne traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Final approach, runway 14, full stop. St. Anne traffic. I still get confused with the callouts. Okay, that looks pretty straightforward. Although the wind is not straightforward at all. 224 at 11 knots. Oh my goodness. There is no good wind direction for here. Full crosswind either way. For blocking any ads. Yeah, I got rid of my ad blocker. I used to have one before, but it just was pretty intrusive. Like some ads some sites I wanted to support, and sometimes it blocks legitimate pop-ups, so I just got rid of it. St. Anne traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, short final, runway 14, full stop, St. Anne traffic. Okay, let's go full flaps here. Approach speed on this plane is 80 knots, so we'll be trimming for that. Does look like we are a bit high. So let's go and catch up to it a bit. Look at how crosswind we are. How crabbed we are. Let's dive a bit. There we go. It's more like it. We forgot to turn on our lights. Actually, we forgot to turn them off. Okay, so they've been on this entire time. Okay, that's okay. Side slip. Oh, that's a bit fast. There you go. There you go. I'll take that. Thank you. Now, where is the thing? We'll have to back taxi. Let's turn through here. Hey, thank you for the bits, Patrick. Is that for the landing? Appreciate that. Perfect timing, yeah. You nailed it. Since we hit touchdown. And look at that, perfect timing indeed. Now we have fuel quantity low on both tanks, so it's time to refuel. Let's simulate this. I hope there's like a fuel station here. Let's find it so we can refuel and not use the menus. That will make it even more realistic. That was for the fuel. Well, we'll definitely need that. There's the fuel station. So let's just stop right next to it. That should be okay. Know nothing about Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and Labrador. Well, you know that they exist. I don't even know. So you're one step ahead of me, at least. Thankfully, we have Scotsman here. We have Tom here, who know a lot more about those places. Turn off the landing lights. Turn off everything. Why are the nav lights on? Off, rather. Okay. Ste-Anne traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, clear off the runway. Ste-Anne traffic. Sure thing, Rohan. There's the fuel stop, the fuel station. Now Tom is American, I believe, from the US. But he knows a lot about Canada. Researches a lot about them. Okay. There we go. Simulating that beautifully. I guess to simulate that properly though, we'll have to close the engine. I guess it would not be safe to refuel with the plane, the engine on. Cowl flaps, I forgot. This is why you have checklists. Okay. Alright, avionics is off. Alright, that looks good. Beacons can go off. Magnetos, that's the one I forget always. Turn off everything first. Go for a bio break, guys. Or do you have your mags on? November 361 Charlie Lima. Let's go and refuel. Let's fill it to the brim. That looks good. Okay. Runway 14. Good thing is that's pretty close to here. Alright, so I think for now what we can do is we can get pushed back. If I shift P here, it should just push me back magically. Even if the tug is back there. So that's pretty handy. Actually, I like this better so you don't have to wait for the guy. There you go. Should be good. Brakes here. And let's turn on the plane. Beacons on. Garmin booting up. Fuel quantity indeed full for both. That's the way we like it. Awesome. Beacons are on. Mixture full. RPM high. But a little bit. I don't think we need a fuel pump as we just started the plane already. So we can go and start it up. There you go. Turn on avionics, turn on the panel. Taxi lights. Right. So in traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima taxiing to runway 14. Did I forget anything? Probably I did. Landing lights, all the lights. Looking good. Looks clear. Ste-Anne traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Departing runway 14, departing to the east. Ste-Anne traffic. Okay, this is okay. Wow, clouds are getting pretty heavy now, huh? Not the best for sightseeing. We can make it work. Winds are 185 at 2 knots. Actually, not very strong winds here. That's good. Looks good. Oil pressure is in the green. I hope I didn't forget anything. Probably not the words you want to hear from a pilot. Rotate. There you go. Beautiful. Positive rate. Tap the brakes. Gear up. Awesome stuff. And that is beautiful. I love these very subtle takeoffs. Like you're just inching away from the ground bit by bit. I love that feeling. Sure thing, Hud. What coffee do you make? Let me know when you're back. Oh, one sec, guys. Someone at the door. So I'll have to turn on autopilot for a bit, guys, because there's someone at the door. I'll be right back. So let's go heading mode here. Flight level change mode. And then autopilot. That should work, I think. RPM 2500 for a steady climb. We do have some mountains in there. Okay, let's try it this way. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, let's see what's happening. We're still alive. Okay, that's good. Let's bring that back. Alright, I'm back. It does seem like these mountains are a bit on the high side. Are we okay in terms of, you guys hear me properly? Tequila special delivery. Yeah. It's a delivery for Mrs. Clumsy. So I think we'll stay here because the left side is full of mountains. Actually no, this entire thing is full of mountains. So maybe we can cut this part by going straight inland. I think we've explored the coast plenty enough. But let me know, Scotsman, if you prefer the coast. Otherwise, we'll cut things through here. And let's switch to center. Back to center. Good. Yeah, some pretty high mountains there. Lower the manifold pressure. Okay, you can hear me fine. That's good. Thank you. 25 inches of mercury.
Air Canada 423, I have an abort ranking time for you.
Steam the engine.
Go ahead, Air Canada 423. Air Canada 423, Ranger flight to Fort Bragg inbound for Toronto at time 0036. Speed is your discretion.
Okay, there you go.
0036 speed or dispatch. We're going to bring it back to probably about a couple miles.
Awesome.
Yes, that'll be fine. There's nobody behind you there, sir.
What? Up to me. Okay, let's travel across these mountains. Looks a bit more exciting. Let's enjoy the scenery, these mountains. Get thrown around by the, what do you call this again, guys? The updrafts. There's the sun peeking out like so. I guess in reality you wouldn't do this, fly so close to the mountains, because if you had any kind of engine failure, it would get pretty hairy immediately. Scenic either way, yeah, I agree. Here we get to see the lush mountains. Frame rate is not bad, huh? I'm actually impressed. Oh, it's actually below 30. You don't even notice it. I guess once your eyes get used to 30 FPS, it's not that bad anymore. Let's turn off the flight director here. Oh yeah, we have a couple of weird water elevation bugs again. You can see that in front of us. There you go. It's going to snake all throughout the river there, most probably. Do you think I could fly this plane in real life? I think I could in a limited manner, the basic stuff, but for sure it would feel very different. But yeah, I think I will have at least an idea. Not sure if that will be enough for like a full flight, but some parts of it at the very least. Like before, I remember I used to stay away from any plane that had a propeller lever, that blue thing, because I didn't understand how they worked. Recently, I've been reading up on that. They call it a constant speed propeller, I think they call it. And it's very nice. Some videos are very, it's kind of hard to see find a video that's very descriptive of them, but I found some which have been very useful for me. And the easiest analogy for that is like it having an automatic transmission in your car. So we maintain, so here using the blue lever, the propeller, we maintain an RPM, right? Here we say 2500. We want to remain at 2500 because that gives the best performance basically. It's like in a car, right? You have that range of RPM where the engine is at its most powerful in a way. So you want to remain in there. So how it does it, it has like a prop governor or something, some mechanism that adjusts the angle of the propeller so that regardless of your angle, you are, oh, we'll have to descend here because it's getting pretty cloudy. Regardless of your angle, it will adjust to a point so that it maintains that RPM. So you remain in the peak performance range basically. As compared with a fixed pitch propeller, a propeller which is only one angle, doesn't change, you are limited. Your RPM goes up and down depending on the situation. So it's, the analogy there is like you're stuck in third gear. So in some areas you're good, but in some areas you are limited, you're not optimal. So having this kind of constant speed propeller gives you much more power and much better performance all throughout the range. It's very nice. So now I'm not avoiding them so much anymore. Yeah, what coffee you're making? The lousy pre-ground beans from NTUC. Oh, nice. Yeah, Mrs. Clumsy has been very interested in a like Nespresso kind of thing recently. She has been asking if that's good. I tell her it's not as good as the ones I make. Even though the ones I make take a lot of time and effort. But I think she's pretty happy staying with our beans for now. Yeah, why is that getting blocked? I don't get it. Clumsy Box Coffee. Yeah, I think I should start selling in the merch store. Clumsy beans. How will we get out of this valley? We are traveling the general right direction here. You guys pick left or right? That valley on the left or that valley on the right? I'm going to stay in the middle as long as I can. Yeah, only black coffee, drip coffee. Don't have an espresso machine. Not yet at least, but if I convince Mrs. Clumsy enough, we might just get one soon. Probably not though. Many ships use variable pitch propellers as well. The shaft keeps the same RPM, but the prop changes pitch to increase and decrease speed. Oh, I see. So that's not an aviation specific philosophy, thing. Technical terms. That's actually something from ships also. Cool. Makes sense. Yeah, I saw a very old video, like, I don't know, 1980s video. It's colored though. But the aspect ratio is like that letterbox thing. Oh my goodness, clouds again. Stay below the clouds. Yeah, getting pretty hard flying VFR here. With this kind of scenario, I think we're boxing ourselves in. But we'll make our way through. You see, yeah, it's good. Lessen on the manifold pressure a bit. There you go. But yeah, that old video with the old school aspect ratio and very dated resolution actually explain things the best. They're very informative. That's where I learned the most. Like, why is the propeller, why is it angled differently? Like it's like, if for example the propeller near the center is like this angle, but if you trace that propeller near the end, it kind of changes angle. Why? It explains that Maybe I should link it in the Flight Sim channel. Would be very educational. And about VFR HUD, there are certain rules for flying VFR. Visual flight rules is what it means. And one of the rules is you should not go into clouds like this. So I'm actually breaking that rule. Because if VFR isn't applicable in the area you're flying, then you should fly IFR, instrument flight rules. And that is when you have to be in constant communication with air traffic control. You have to have an approved flight plan. And that's the only time when you will be allowed to go into clouds, basically. You won't have as much freedom and flexibility. Like, oh, I want to climb here, I want to descend here. But you will be safer overall. Wright Brothers propeller theory. Oh, is that from them? That makes a lot of sense. Oh my goodness, how do we get out of this valley? Let's try and trace it. I do see a green area right there, so maybe we can go to the right here and trace that through all the way to the lake. We'll see if that can be a thing. Mrs. Clumsy. Yeah, she got a surprise delivery for her birthday. Oh, getting into clouds again. Nobody spill on me. Yeah, I think normally you have to stay like 1,000 feet or 500 feet away from clouds at the very least. 500 feet below the clouds. So you shouldn't go anywhere even close to them. Okay, this one looks better. We're getting a bit more even here. So how do you know when an area is IFR or VFR? That's a very good question. It actually depends on the area. Depends on the country where you're at, but generally there are rules to it. Like if cloud cover is this much, then it's considered VFR conditions. There is a standard there which I'm not familiar with, which I should be familiar with. That's, I guess, the next thing I should learn. But when you reach those minimums, when the weather gets bad enough, it will be called IFR. So there's a certain criteria to classify that. That's why if you look at little nav map here, it's going to be very small, but I'll describe it for you. Whenever you look at the station weather, you see the flight rules here, VFR. Or if it goes that somewhat bad, it will tell IFR. So the app is aware of those rules and classifies them accordingly. It's like a traffic light thing. Kind of, yes. Maybe more like a... Maybe more like a dynamic speed limit kind of thing, where it would depend and it could change. But yeah, depending on how you look at it, either way would work. When the green turns red, it's bad enough, needs to be IFR. Ah, I see what you mean. Yes, that's true. Yes, exactly. So actually we can, depending on the, it also depends on the airspace. So like not everywhere you can fly just VFR, especially near cities, near big airports. And that's how you get into all the airspace confusion. Look at this. So all the layers you can see, those are all different airspaces overlapping each other. In this area we're at, it's actually a class Bravo starting at 12,500 feet. But below 12,500, there is no indication, which most likely means it's class Echo. At least that's what I know. Class E. In Class Echo, you can fly VFR if the weather permits. So you don't need to get in touch with ATC. But when the weather goes bad, then yeah. So I think we'll have to work with ATC here. We can actually probably request IFR. We can make this into an IFR flight to Charlottetown actually. Change it up a bit. Yeah, that might be a good variant. CYYG. Okay, so let me plug that into pilot to ATC while we're maneuvering here, because the weather is getting bad. So we're going to reflect something like what they do in real life. They fly VFR, and when the weather turns bad, some people, they know that the weather will turn bad, so they are filing an IFR flight plan ahead of time, but they're not using the IFR flight plan yet. So they're flying VFR, and when they really need to, when they feel like it's safer to fly IFR, they then get clearance for that flight plan, so they can switch. So that's what we will be trying to do. Right, so right now what I can do is I can go... what's a good deal here? Let me see where we came from. Charlie Yankee Sierra Zulu. Okay, can climb again. Charlie Yankee. I'm just plugging this into pilot to ATC so we can file our flight plan. And then let's just go direct to the airport to Charlottetown. Charlie Yankee Yankee Golf. Charlie Yankee Yankee Golf. Getting clouds again here.
Okay, I'll pass your request on.
So let's probably do 11,000. Let's get back to the valley. That is complicated. That's why for me actually IFR is actually simpler, because it's more straightforward. You file a plan, you work with air traffic control, and they guide you the rest of the way. VFR, you have all these airspaces, you have all these conditions, you have all these limitations, and you have to know each limit, each rule in each area. So it gets more complicated. So for my brain, it's actually a lot more like if-then statements, more conditions, and it's harder to understand for me. Alright, let's go fly IFR here, cruising at 11,000 feet. There you go, fly direct. Okay. Validate. File. Yes, good. Right, we'll probably do the RNAV approach. We'll see if that works. How is the weather in Charlottetown?
Trend 184 west, course level 340.
Winds 198 at 15. Okay, so RNAV 21 looks good. Alright, so I filed that. Now we can get our clearance. Center Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, ready to copy IFR clearance.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima is cleared to Charlie Yankee Yankee Golf is filed. Climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Expect higher clearances in 3 minutes. Squawk 5634. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima.
Got overridden.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, contact Moncton Center on 134.25. Enjoy your morning.
Center on 134.25. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, center frequency is 134.25.
appointment level
Come
370.
on. There you go. Center, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, climbing 6,000 feet.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, good morning. Squawk 5634 QNH is 1010. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima radar contact.
There we go.
Get a 66 Toronto radar contact.
QNH, let's set that up. There you go. Climb to 6,000 feet. Let's go full RPM here. That's more like it. And start with the climb. He wasn't smuggling poutine. Close enough. Oh my goodness. Beautiful clouds up here. Thankful that we went beyond those clouds. That looks so much more amazing,
Bonanza
doesn't
1
it?
Charlie Lima expedite climb to 6,000 feet.
Expedite climb to 6,000 feet. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, this is Moncton Center on 134.25. Please repeat your request.
So what we can do is go towards this heading. I'm going to go autopilot for now. Heading, flight level change, autopilot. There you go. Let's make sure that the engine is rich of peak. That it has enough. There you go. Let's go to FMS mode here. And pretty soon we'll be asked to go to direct the airport. It's a bit of a hassle having to type all of this.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima climb and maintain 1,000 feet.
Whoa, the winds. Climb and maintain 1,000 feet. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Right. Hey Brad. Thanks for joining. So we should get instructions soon enough. We'll activate that when they ask us to proceed en route. Resume navigation basically. Wow, yeah, it's pretty windy up here. Let's have a look. 37 knots coming from the right, coming from the southwest. Goodness. Yeah, pretty strong winds recently. Loving the views from up here though. That looks amazing. You can even hear the wind buzzing through. That is beautiful. Okay. Looks good. Double check our EGT. Yeah, that should be okay. Your dream is to take a car and drive it all around North America one day. There's just so much to explore. Yeah, I want to do the same but with a plane. My goodness. Oh my goodness, I'm looking at my stream preview. It's so far behind. It's like I don't know, 11, 20 seconds behind? How is your lag, guys? How is your stream delay? Let me reopen that.
Flight level 310, Kennedy 24.
Okay, now I think it's working. Yes, no worries, Tom. Yes, let's do that next time. And hopefully I can even do a VATSIM flight then, because from what I know, Charlotte Airport is a pretty famous airport, especially in VATSIM. We might be brave enough to work with real virtual air traffic controllers then. We'll see. -2 degrees. Oh, I hope we're not in icing conditions. But we are still climbing, so I think we'll be right in between those cloud layers as we get to 11,000 feet. Around 2 seconds. Okay, that's good. 2.83. Wow. Twitch is stepping it up, huh? How did that happen? What is it usually, Alex? Authentic poutine. Don't we have that in Singapore? Or like, what is the closest thing we have here? I've never tried that, I think. There are actually 0 places to do so. Used to run about 7 seconds. Wow. That is a huge improvement. Nice. Do we still have my lights on? I still do. My bad. All flaps should be able to go off now, I think. That should improve our climb performance a bit. After all, it's very cold in here. Have a good night, Tom. I'm actually not sure if the cowl flaps help with the intake or the exhaust, one of those, but it helps with the air somehow. I think it's the I don't know. But let's try and see if we can spot it from here. So that's with the cowl flaps closed. If I open it, I'm not sure, maybe it's this one that lowers down. Let's try.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima climb and maintain 1,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 1,000 feet. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. We're getting hammered by winds.
1 Charlie Lima climb and maintain 1,000 feet. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, you are off course. Turn right heading 154 to return to course.
Turn right heading 154, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. You guys see anything different? I'm actually not sure if those are animated. But I don't notice a difference. Maybe I'm looking somewhere else. Man, that looks great, doesn't it? Small plane able to travel this high up. That's a treat. Right, we are reaching our cruising altitude here, so let's go and lower the RPM down to 2,500. That should be good enough. And then our airspeed will climb back up and we can start leaning it again. Lean the engine, get the peak there.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, contact Montreal Center on 135.55. Have a good morning.
The peak is actually very close now. Very low because we're high up. So probably 820 degrees should be good. Let's get in touch with that. Center on 135.5, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, center frequency is 135.55.
My bad. 135.55, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. There we go. Center Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima at 11,000 feet.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, good morning. Radar contact. QNH is 1010. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, resume navigation.
There we go.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima read back correct. QNH is 1006.
What? Okay, resume navigation means we can go direct to Charlottetown. So we can activate that. There you go. And now we can go nav mode. And the plane should follow the magenta line. Perfect. So we should be more or less the same course as what pilot to ATC is expecting, I think. Cowl flaps just allow greater airflow over the cylinders for better cooling. Ah, I see. So it's just like opening the window in the house or in the car. 55, my goodness. Thank you for joining, guys. Ah, because Brad hosted. Hey Brad, thanks a lot for the host. Sorry for the delay. Yeah, I think that's all thanks to Brad. Thank you for dropping by and taking pity on the channel. Air-cooled engine and all. That makes a lot of sense now. Thanks, man. Beechcraft. Although now it says Textron Aviation, so I think Textron Aviation bought out Cessna Beechcraft. Probably that's how it is. So I assume at least. Oh my goodness, look at those fluffy clouds. This is something we could never get in the older Sims. At least not at this performance with this rig. And the cowl flaps control the air exit from the cowling. Ah, okay. So it comes in through the... Okay. Cowling is this one, right? Cowling is this one. So when you have the cowl flaps open, I would imagine there's a vent that opens through here to let out some of the air. Probably something like that. Good stuff. There we go. Where are we flying over now? Let's have a look at the map. Yeah, we cut through that island there. Instead of going around the entire way, we tried to go across in the valley. And then when we had enough of the bad weather, we filed IFR, punched through the clouds, and now we're on a direct route to Charlottetown. You can tune in the VOR here, 113.8. Now if I measure the distance from where we are, measure distance from there to Charlottetown, that should be 142 miles. Yeah, that will still take a while. Or down near the exhaust. Oh, let's look for it. Textron owns Beechcraft and Cessna. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because on the Baron, I think the Beechcraft Baron, if I remember correctly, it was somewhere here, or well near each engine supposedly. So let's try and observe that. It's kind of hard to spot, huh? I would have to assign a key for that. So that we can see it in action, opening and closing. There. Little doors in front of the exhaust. Oh, so this one. These like flaps right here. Oh right, yes. Good catch, yeah, these flaps, right. Cool. So that helps with the cooling. So it helps with the cooling by allowing more of the hot air to go out, or does it allow more of the cold air to go in? I think it's the former rather than the latter, seeing that how it's in the exhaust. Okay, should be good. Oh my goodness, very bad headwinds here. So true airspeed is 164 knots, but our ground speed is, oh actually that's not too bad. Ground speed is 166 knots, so we're actually getting still 2 knots of tailwind, which seems strange. I think there might be something wrong with the calculations here, because that seems like a headwind to me. So I guess this true airspeed calculation might be a bit wrong. Oh, and you can see we are actually able to track the VOR now over at Charlottetown. New flaps. Cow falls out from there. Everything makes sense now. I also saw something that I'm not familiar with. Those ones. You guys know what this is for? Because I noticed those are there on the right wing, and the left wing only has one of those. Why is it not even? Someone forgot something. Probably not. Very nice clouds indeed.
Exact 791 contact position line on the frequency 12467.
Let's go and check out the different views here on this plane. Each plane comes with its own like preset external views, which are very cinematic. Let's try that out. Showcase. Fixed camera. So that's the first one. This one is like having a GoPro on the wing, which is very realistic looking. This one is from the other side. This one is from below. So you can actually see the cowl flaps here extending. And you have a hotkey assigned to it. Oh, this one is nice. If you extend the landing gear, you'll probably see that. But this is very scenic. This one you can see the Beechcraft right by the tail. This one actually has like a... Oh, this is very nicely done. Because I think in the Bonanza, it only opens from the right side. So the door is only on the right. So this is like the carpet going to the door. Let's have a look if on the left side there is such a thing. Yeah, on the left there is nothing. On the right there is. That is pretty accurate. And you can even see like the dirt, the footsteps. And that. Very nice. Cool. What's an HOV lane? What's this now? Very nice. There you go. Okay, we're back. Cowl flaps just let the air out of the cowl. With them closed, the air simply stalls at the inlet. Ah, makes sense, makes sense. So that's why you need them for takeoff, to help with the cooling. And then for descent, you want them closed because you don't want the engine cooling off abruptly, cooling off too much. Also, if you look at the MFD here, you can see here in the manifold pressure, this range, you have like a green range. If I remember correctly, if you stay within that green range, then the prop governor can retain the RPM you set. But if you go to that white range, I can't quite explain it, but I think there will not be enough pressure for the RPM to be maintained, so it will start to lower. Feel free to fact check me there, because I am not 100% sure, but I think that's how it works. High occupancy vehicle. Like carpool lanes? I think that's in California, right? Or in LA. I think we've encountered that when we were there before. They are weights, like wheel weights that stop the wings wobbling. All those. Oh, amazing. Okay. That's pretty interesting. So I guess in terms of the weight, it's not 1:1 between the wings. You may have made that up. Did you just Mumbai bus me? Okay, left tank is getting depleted faster. Enjoyable trip so far. Great to hear, man. We'll try and descend a bit lower, quicker, when we get to Prince Edward Island, so we get to enjoy the view a bit more. Let's have a look at how the airspace looks here to see if we can cancel IFR. Oh my goodness. I don't think we can. Let's see. Alright, let's see. Yeah, if we look at this one, so let me see. Yeah, maritime CAE. What is that? Control area something? Yeah, that won't work. Here, outside this red area, you could actually cancel IFR. You could fly VFR up to 12,500 feet, below 12,500. But once you enter this red area, this entire area right here, including the entire Prince Edward Island, you actually have a class Bravo all the way from 700 feet up to 12,500 feet. So normally, you wouldn't be able to cancel IFR there. You would need to be in constant contact with air traffic control. Or maybe you can switch to VFR if you could request to enter the Class Bravo airspace. I'm not sure how that works. But maybe we can make an exception for ourselves. At the very least, we can go and request for a lower cruising altitude. That might help. So we can do a bit of sightseeing. So once we get to this island close enough here, we'll request a descent. 2,500. And then, let me also open Navigraph, because we'll be doing an RNAV approach. That should be... the airport should be somewhere here. There you go, Charlottetown. So it's the RNAV 21. They require 3 people, and therefore you get faster traffic. I see. What the little metal rods sticking out of the back of the wings are, they're known as static wicks or static dischargers, to prevent lightning strikes from having an effect on the aircraft. I see. Tada! Is that the real thing this time? Cool, man, thank you. Alright, so RNAV 21 looks pretty straightforward. Initial approach fixes Oteti. Or actually, Ovapu might be better for us because we're coming from the northwest. So an Ovapu transition looks better at 2,100 feet, 117 degree track. Then we turn right to 107 degrees to Sovat. So recommended 2,100. Yeah, should be pretty straightforward. We have a minimum here, minimum of 466. I'm not sure if we have LPV on this plane. So we'll set up 466, 470 minimums to be on the safe side. I don't think the weather will be that bad anyway. Double check this airport. Yeah, it's VFR 200 at 15 knots. Few clouds at 1800, broken clouds at 14,000. Yeah, should be pretty good. Okay. So that's pretty straightforward. No, I made that up too. Come on. For real? No, that's the real thing, I think. Okay, there's the airport.
Takeoff being Charlottetown, you identified that above 3,000 VFR Polish rolling to Takeoff. The altimeter is 299.
There should be a plane to our 1 o'clock at I think 40,000 feet, 39,000 feet up. Might be a bit too far to see though. Yeah. Perfect HUD. Exactly what we needed. You were a physics teacher for a moment. Same here. It shows the perfect altitude for cruising, huh? 11,000 feet. Fuel flow is good. Let me just double check. Peak is 827. So actually no. Should be around 817, 816. Yeah, this would be the better lean of peak setup.
79 Toronto, Charlie, identify climb 3,000, machine directed native on course. 3,000, directed native on course, quarter 79.
Hey, thanks for the follow. Did we also get the raid? I thank you for the raid. Welcome everybody. Yeah. I still don't know how to pronounce it. I don't think I ever want to know. I'm happy enough not knowing about it.
79 contact departure 128 decimal 8, good night. 128 decimal 8, quarter 79.
So how far away are we? 103 miles away. That should take us 37 minutes. Okay, looks like it's just perfect timing for the stream. That raid was a long time ago. Hey Jay. Oh really? Oh, Streamlabs must be Mumbai bussing me then. It said 1 minute ago. No, the host I mentioned a while ago, 25 minutes ago. There's a new raid now, it says. Thanks Aussie Pilot, thanks for the raid, appreciate it. Thanks for the follow as well. Oh yeah, that was a host I think a while ago. This time it's a raid. Thanks for the follow guys, welcome to the channel. Feel free to join in chat and enjoy the fun. In the meantime, if anyone knows, if we still have more viewers there, maybe you guys know where the brightness knob is. Because I am still looking for it, my goodness. I would expect it somewhere here in the lights. But I have no idea where the knob is. Circuit breakers. No, I still don't know where. Maybe it's somewhere, let's see. Below? No? Okay, not really. Annunciator test. Cabin heat. AC, I don't think we need that. Vent blower, spawn. I still don't see it. Why is it this? It's on the co-pilot side. My goodness. How sneaky is that? Okay, let's see. There it is. Okay, great. Because sometimes I fly in the night and the G1000 panel becomes too bright. It's not really applicable now, but my goodness, that was sneaky. We would never have expected it to be on the co-pilot side. Alright, Hud. Good luck with your exam. Enjoy. Keep us posted and catch you soon. I'll try, Hud. I'll try my very best. Ban Rohan. The kids are back. Goodness. So what have you guys been busy with these days? Any new movies, series, games you're getting into? Last night was Mrs. Clumsy's birthday. We were out in the city. Had a fancy dinner in a Japanese restaurant. Was finally able to go out of the city. I'll share with you a picture later. I was able to take a pic of that new, if you heard of that Apple Dome. I'm not sure what the name is, but yeah, this Apple new dome in the center of Singapore. It looks very nice, looks very scenic. Not very practical, but I don't think that was the intention anyway.
Contact Moncton Center on 123.7. Have a nice day.
Center on 123.7. Have a good day. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, contact Moncton Center on 134.25. Have a good morning.
That changed. Center on 134.25. Good morning. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima.
185 for miles 230. Back out of 420, Charlottetown, Club.
Okay.
United 938, how's the ride? Minute 33.
Center Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima at 11,000 feet.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, good morning. Radar contact. QNH is 1010.
010. I should actually have changed the altimeter setting in Pilot to ATC. So they speak in inches of mercury instead of hectopascals. That's fine. Snow Runner PTS. What is PTS again? Thanks, Alex. No worries, Jay. Lurk away. Good luck with whatever you're busy with. Hope you find the mods list useful. Nice. And let me know when you have questions. If you're looking for specific flight sim stuff, make sure to check the flight sim tab. Some people miss that. Because by default, it will open into the ETS2 screen. Ah, public test server. Look at you being all fancy with beta testing and stuff. I wonder if we can request a new cruising altitude. Let's say if we can go down to 3,000 feet maybe. Center Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima request.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, this is Moncton Center on 134.25. Please repeat your request.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima request cruising altitude 3,000 feet.
1 Charlie Lima, information not available for.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima request cruising altitude 3,000 feet. They're not understanding me. I think I'm using the wrong phrase. Let me try and look for it. Okay. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima request descent to 3,000 feet.
Good evening, Sherlock 1. Takeoff report, heavy level 350. Sherlock 124.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, negative. Your requested altitude is below the minimum for your route. Descend and maintain 5,400 feet.
Good evening.
Descend and maintain 5,400 feet. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Not bad, 5,400. I can take that for now. Start our descent. And I will be back with you guys shortly.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, expedite descent to 5,400 feet.
So look at this one. If I go the pressure, the manifold pressure, if I go below 15, you see the RPM struggling to be maintained. Not really, scratch that. Maybe that's not right after all. Okay, let's just maintain that in the green to be on the safe side. Going to punch through some clouds here. Stuff for the next DLC update. The next map is pretty nice. Oh, do tell. What kind of map is it? Is it still in Russia? Maybe I can get back into SnowRunner again eventually. Okay, let's keep that descent. That should be a pretty good speed. We'll have to start start pushing on the mixture though. Now I'm not sure about this one. I think let's look for the peak here. 730. I'm not sure how you descend and find the right mixture, but I think it's not that specific. So I can just push on the mixture bit by bit. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima descent and maintain 5,400 feet.
You guys see that? Oh my goodness. Descend and maintain 5,400 feet. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Icing conditions, guys. Oh my goodness, that's very bad. I did turn on my anti-ice here for prop and pitot heat, but this aircraft is not well built for descent for that heavy icing. So you saw a while ago the speed indicator went away because we got to the pitot heat got frozen. The pitot tubes rather. Oh my goodness, this is scary. 1 second, guys. Next map is Canadian. Wow, that's perfect timing. Yeah, well, let's test it out. Oh my goodness, this is scary. -2 degrees through clouds. Not very good, SM. We'll need some luck. Okay. I should have opened that before we went into the clouds. But then again, there is no windshield de-ice on this plane. So we'll just have to hope for colder, hotter temperatures to cool us down. Oh my goodness, look at how... At least we have protection from lightning. Oh my goodness. Well, we'll see how that goes. Or do we? Yeah, it does seem like we'll be more conductive, won't we? If we have ice wrapped all around us. I don't know. As we descend though, it should get a teeny weeny bit hotter. And I don't see any clouds anymore. So we are beyond the danger zone, I think. But yeah, we just have to melt off this ice from the windshield and from the rest of the plane. Oh my goodness, look at that. Looks so scary. Stick a photo of that. They did say that in Microsoft Flight Sim, the icing is a bit on the exaggerated side. Yeah, I think that's more like it. At least we know they weren't for ice protection. That's true. It only has de-ice for the pitot tubes and the propeller, but not for the airframe. So yeah. Not very good for our plane right now. Looks like your car windows in about a month's time. Heavy breathing, oh yeah, please do. We'll need more of that. Sounds perfect for this situation. Let's try and request again. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, request descent to 3,000 feet.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima negative. Your requested altitude is below the minimum for your route. Maintain 5,400 feet.
Maintain 5,400 feet, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Okay, so let's bring back the manifold pressure to 25. Actually, no. This is as much as we can do. Right? Lean the engine. Heat is around 869, 871. So around 860, 850 plus. That should be okay. More or less. And we are getting close to the airport. So I guess it should be safe to switch to the other tank. Try and burn up some of that right fuel tank for a change. De-ice on this plane should be propeller based. I did turn on the prop de-ice. Maybe that's what it means. It is on your friend's Bonanza. So, maybe that is helping. Either that or it's not working. We are in Eastern Canada, that's true. On our way to Prince Edward Island on our right, which you can't see. Canada weather. Sounds familiar, Jack. Isn't that how it goes in what's that name of the game? Oh my goodness, Goldfish Memory. You guys know the game. Grey Mother. That game. There's Prince Edward Island. It doesn't seem cold here, but the ice is not melting. Well, I guess it is melting just a bit. The long dark, there you go, thank you. Yeah, I did request for a lower one, but they're not giving it to me. They say 5,400 is the lowest allowed in my route. So this is as low as we can go. Which I don't think should be proper. Because I think they should make an exception in my case. Although it does seem to be thinning out bit by bit. Because how about this temperature? 2 degrees. And why is the map open again? Didn't I turn that off already? Scotsman killed Clumsy. Oh yeah, let's all blame it on Scotsman. That is the right way to do it. Everything else is on the green though. I wonder if turning off the heat will change anything. Okay, we're not in icing conditions anymore, so we don't need the pitot heat anymore. But it is 2 degrees outside, so it is kind of sensitive. So I guess it does seem like it is slowing down the plane a bit though, doesn't it? If we have icing enabled. Like if I flick those on, nah, not really. So let's just keep them open to be on the safe side. Okay. Maybe we can request en route descent. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, request en route descent.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima at pilot discretion. Descend and maintain 2,100 feet.
Descend and maintain 2,100 feet, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Nice. Right, let's get some warmth in here. Also get some sightseeing. So let's go in VS to down. 1,000 feet per minute should be more than enough. dial down on the manifold pressure so we're not speeding. Finally, alright. Yeah, someone go out and scrape this off. Should be safe, I think. This doesn't look safe though. My goodness. Oh. It is 10:38 Deso. Good catch. There's Prince Edward Island. That's a nice screenshot. Actually, this is a very good primer for things to come, because as we get closer to the end of the year, we will probably be flying in more icing conditions, and we have to be more careful if we go through clouds. So going through clouds is not only a hazard in terms of visibility, but very much so because of icing possibility. So we try and avoid clouds as much as possible, especially with these kinds of planes with limited icing, anti-ice capabilities. Ice Cube 1 requesting permission to panic. It does not have seasons in the sense that it doesn't have like leaves
Bonanza 1
changing.
Charlie Lima, you are off course. Turn left heading 145 to return to course.
Turn left heading 145, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Let's go to heading mode here, so that the plane will follow the heading I set. And I think, yes, because I should be selecting an approach. There is a list, there you go. RNAV 21 is what we want. RNAV 21, transition at, what was it again? Ovapu. Minimums are at 466, so let's set that up. Ovapu transition. Minimums you can't set yet. Let's go ahead and activate that. Now the G1000 mod should have fixed this, so this should work without making us go U-turn. Well, good news is we're not doing a U-turn. Bad news is the flight plan absolutely went away. Activate? I think this happened to me already before. Okay, I am seeing an... he messed it up. I am seeing a glide path. Oh my goodness, I'm seeing some clouds again up ahead. The ice seems to be thinning out, so that's a good indication. But my goodness, G1000, don't fail me now. RNAV approach, I can't have anything else.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, resume navigation.
Resuming navigation, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Let's go to nav mode, see where this will take us. Oh my goodness, no. That will not work. Let's go to heading mode. Zoom in here a bit. So if we go flight plan, what I can try and do, sneak in something here. Maybe add Ovapu manually, because this was the workaround. Let's see if that works. Ovapu, it should be the initial approach fix. I'm really wishing for a QWERTY keyboard here in the G1000. Ovapu, yes. There you go, there it is. Okay, so go nav mode, go there, and then let's try to pick the procedure again. Select the approach, yes. Ovapu, indeed. Load it up.
330,
Procedure, activate the approach. Oh, come on. What's happening? Hey, Aussie pilot. Thanks for the raid, man. Yeah, thanks again. I'm not sure if you heard me the first time. Appreciate it. Alright, Ovapu. Procedure. Select approach. Activate it. I'm going to cry. Oh, Flight Sim 2020, why are you doing this to me? Okay, let's plug those in manually. My goodness, I hate this. Oh. Va. Oh.
Echo 472 when ready. He said still flight level 240. When ready, send the
Okay, nav mode. Okay, good. Alright. And then the next fix is Oteti. Oh my goodness, I'll have to spell one by one again. Spelling with Clumsy. Okay, there it is. And then what's the next one? Sovat. Okay, Sovat. Sorry. And even if it plug all of these down, I doubt that the RNAV will work, so we'll have to just descend manually anyway. Okay, there you go. So we plugged on all the RNAV waypoints, so at least we should have a proper lateral guidance. But aside from that, we'll still have to manually descend. Good thing we didn't run out of fuel. That I think is the least of our problems. Good thing though, no more icing. Yeah! 8 degrees outside should be safe. Turn off all the icing. Anti-ice thingies. Gets parachute ready. Alright. So our approach is RNAV 21. Let's set the minimums here. Timer, reference, minimums would be the barrow we'll be using, and that will be 466 feet. So let's put it to 470. I'm not sure if there's actually a minimums call out in this plane. We'll see. Looks good. Alright, so we have now a reference there. Barrow minimum 470. Good. How far are we away? 14 minutes. Peak is 870. Let's go down to 860. Should be lean of peak right there. Okay, good. Perfect. 2100 is our initial approach fixed altitude. So let's follow this manually. Yeah, maybe it's a good opportunity for us to do this manually. If you look at this one, maximum is 210 knots, or well within that. And 2,100 feet. Avapo, Oteti, and then after Oteti, 1.8 miles to Sovat, we start descending, and then the descent rate should be depending on our ground speed here. So if we look at this one, if your ground speed is 90 knots, then you should be descending at 478 feet per minute to achieve that 3-degree descent pitch. But if the faster you go, the steeper your descent should be, which makes a lot of sense. So if we target for around 110 knots, maybe 120 knots, then we can VS it to like 600 feet and just do that manually. Even if the glide path doesn't appear, we should be able to manually descend our way through. So that's what I'll do. We have altitude at 2100 feet right now. I'll put this down to our minimums, 470 feet, maybe, or let's make it 500 feet. And in case the glide path doesn't work, we'll VS our way down manually. We'll see how things go. Okay, wish us luck. I will put this here on my right side so I have a reference on it. Okay. You're not going to make it. What is green hell? Why does it sound so familiar? We have some pretty low clouds here, look at that. Too bad we weren't able to explore what is this place called? Prince Edward Island? Yeah, in its entirety. But we should be passing by Prince Edward Island National Park on our way as we approach the runway. I think it should be somewhere there. There. Sorry, I missed some messages, guys. The workload got a bit intense with that. Yes, FPB, a flight plan vector indeed. That thing, that ball, thanks to the G1000 mods. That's part of the G1000 improvements. Also, we have a track up. We have so many things. Saving of settings. So exclamation point mods should get you there. Sorry for the delayed reply, SM. Yeah, this is why I'm flying the G36 now, because it has a combo. There is a guy who made the G36 improvements, adjusted the performance so that it's more realistic, added a lot of things in the checklist, like the checklist is super comprehensive now compared to default, and made all the numbers match the real thing as close as possible. And then on top of that, there are the guys who have been working on the G1000 to get all the additional features, and now it even has a leaning system here, which is very, very nice. I like the level of detail that they put in here. And they are not done yet. They're continuing to work on the G1000. They've been sharing some updates in that thread. Exclamation point mods should get you there. I think they're bound to release a new update soon. Okay, let's do a proper RNAV approach here. One way or the other. It does, SM. Yes, the G1000 mod with FPV should work with all the G1000 planes. I think the only thing that's not in the other G1000 planes is this specific engine option, this engine panel, especially the lean one. I think this one is specific to the G36, but the other features I think should behave the same as long as you have a G1000 panel. Hey, Free Spirit Aviation, nice name. Thanks for joining. So if we look at the map here, I should actually get ready. Are we not getting transferred yet? Because we do have the center radio. Charlottetown radio. Oh, this place doesn't have a tower? That's interesting. It has an RNAV approach, but no tower frequency. Would have expected it's like that. There is radio though. So I'm not sure if I should be plugging in 118.0. Or something else. Let's see how that works. Let's zoom in here. Hope for the best. This is the Microsoft Store version, but there should be no difference, that's true. You have issues with yours. Constantly crashing. Yeah, I'm on the Mac Microsoft Store as well. The constant crashing can be fixed a couple of ways. First, set the generic planes to on in the graphics settings. Second, put the live traffic or the multiplayer planes to off. So that's the group only function. And I think with that you should be much better off. Using those two settings, I've been able to avoid the
Bonanza 1
crashes.
Charlie Lima cleared for the RNAV approach to runway 21 with the overput transition.
Cleared for the RNAV approach, runway 21 with the Uvapo transition. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. A buttery or a windy approach. Oh my goodness, the winds are pretty intense right now. 20 knots. Well, it's not bad actually, because if the winds like this continue, we should have some pretty strong headwinds.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima QNH is 1016 at Charlottetown. Contact us on this frequency when on the ground to cancel IFR.
Oh, interesting. Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima cancelling IFR.
Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima Roger. Radar service terminated. Frequency change approved. Enjoy.
Squawk VFR. Should be good to go there. Alright, indeed, there is no radio here. Okay, let's switch to the local radio. So we are pretty close. Charlottetown radio, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. Turning final runway 21. Charlottetown radio. Charlottetown traffic. Oh my goodness, that was a mess. Let's repeat that. Charlottetown traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima. RNAV 21 approach, turning final. Full stop. Charlottetown traffic. Okay, let's start slowing down here. Welcome back, Scotsman, just in time for the landing. Do we have time? No, actually we don't have time. I would have wanted to explore more. Okay, we're not getting any glide path at all here. So 1.8 miles from the waypoint. From Solvat, we should start our descent. But for now, I'll slow down. Okay. Charlottetown traffic, 8 miles from runway 21. Full stop. Charlottetown traffic. Actually, I did not even introduce myself. Huh? Forget that. Okay. 207 is the final approach course. 207. Looks good. How far away are we? 4.5 miles. At 1.8 miles away, we should start descending. So right now we are 137 knots. Should be safe to deploy flaps 1 notch. Go full mixture here. Landing gears down. There you go. So we are at 120 knots, more or less. 110. Yeah, 110 should be good target speed. So at 110 knots, let's keep that going. I'll be descending at 600 feet per minute. And we'll take care of it. Coming soon, 3 miles away. Charlottetown traffic, you know who it is. Yes. No need to introduce myself. Where the heck is the runway? There it is, the runway. Okay. Good. We have pretty good headwind right now. Coming pretty close, 2.4. Let's start VSing it. 0 feet per minute for now, but as we go to that 1.8 mile radius, or 1.8 miles away from the waypoint, as the chart indicates, we start our descent. There you go, start it up. 600 feet per minute. Pull back on the throttle so we maintain that 110 knots. And this should actually lead us all the way down to the runway, ideally. Headwinds look good. Not sure if it's gusting though. Alright, let's have a look. We have a couple of indications here. Depending on how far away you are from the runway, there should be at that altitude. So right now we are, how do you know? So at 4 miles away from the runway, we should be at 1480. So by the time we hit Sovat, we should be at 15 or 1480. That is perfect. That is perfect right there. Yes, we are on the exact glide path. Manually tuned in, but having the same effect nonetheless. I can take that. Okay, we should be able to fly here manually. 11 a.m. hype. That's true, that's true. All good. Turning off autopilot. Let's do this manually. Have a bit of fun. The weather looks pretty good. Time's up. Wait, let me land. Charlottetown traffic, Bonanza 1 Charlie Lima, short final, runway 21. Charlottetown traffic. Taxi, airport. I'm opening the charts here. Okay, runway 21, okay. This is a very long approach. This is made more for airliners, I guess. So runway 21, we just go straight through. We'll be crossing the other runway 1028, and then we'll be turning off taxiway Charlie onto the ramp, wherever that ramp is. Okay, that looks good. Coming pretty close here. Going full flaps. And then we'll aim for the approach speed of 80 knots. 3 days a week. When were we planning that? I think that's been a long time, huh? Yeah. Ever since this pandemic thing happened, that could not be a thing anymore. Because I am also balancing my time, trying not to take too much time from Mrs. Clumsy. Because she needs to move her desk whenever I stream.
500.
Coming close to minimums here. 2 white, 2 red, still proper on the glide slope, on the puppy lights rather. So that looks good. It is coming pretty bumpy. We are a bit fast on the approach. Let's slow that down to 80 knots. Minimums. We are a bit high. Let's catch up to the glide slope here. Tandem flight when? Oh yeah, that would be great, huh? 24-hour stream incoming. Do have a bit of a kind of crab here, huh? Just a very minor one. We did reach the minimums already. Man, this is an ugly looking runway. Why does it look like that? It's not even in the center. Okay. Oh, floating like there's no tomorrow. That's okay. The taxiway is way back there. So no rush to land this thing. I'll take it. Almost stalled there. The floatiest landing of them all. I blame the lack of runway markings. Help! That's fine. Being a public runway being called ugly. Yeah, the other side is looking much better. It has the touchdown zone and everything, but that other side, runway 21, doesn't have anything in there. My goodness. Discrimination between runways there. Okay. This is taxiway Charlie. Let's turn off here. Canada tour has come to an end. That's true. It was a great tour, man. Thanks for all the guidance and all the suggestions. Guidance? That the term? You get me. Landing lights were not on. On air would punish me. Turn off the strobes and nav lights as well. Is that guy waiting for us? Look for the guy that's waiting for us, guys. Should make this a proper ending. I think it's that guy. Think? Yeah, it does seem to have the sticks. There he is. Complimentary moves upon debarking. There he is. Straight. Perfect. Alright, thank you. Taxi lights that can go off. Avionics can go off. What happened? Oh, okay, I thought it hanged last moment. It actually detected that I finished the flight. 2 hours 30 minutes. 2 takeoffs, 3 landings. How can that be? Oh, anyway. Okay, continue that. RPM. Beacons off. Don't forget the magnetos this time. All good. Why is the propeller still spinning? Oh, there we go. Oh, it's still spinning. What's happening? It's powered on its own, guys. What the heck? This actually happened to me a while ago or yesterday as well. I think when the game pauses, it kind of loses track of what's happening. Touch and go, refuel, and final landing. Oh yeah, that's true. So there should be three, right? See the wings wobble. There you go. Slowly. Oh, it's coming up again. Cut the mixture again. Cut the props again. I have no idea what's happening. Perpetual energy. This plane is possessed. What's the F key do? Yeah, look, the RPM is there. Oh my goodness. Let's leave it there. What if I try and start the engine again? Aviation should be off. Aviation should be off though. Avionics. Alright, so we have a load on the alternator. And And then I cut the power. Maybe it's the wind. The wind is too strong. It's powering the plane on its own. Oh, press F. I see. Yeah, the meme thing. Now I get what you mean. Definitely the icing. Yes, I think we'll try and put that into our thumbnail if we can. When are we flying over Rohan's house? Yeah, he'll have to give us a route. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. Had such a fun time. Thanks for joining. I'll catch you guys on Friday for more stuff. And yeah, we'll be trucking then this time. Thanks for hanging out. Push back, man. Not looking, trying not to laugh. Yeah, that's true. He's containing himself. GG, guys. This tram is good. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks, and catch you on Discord in the meantime. Bye-bye.